All right, we're going to learn another form of how we can write linear equations. This is known as the point-slope form, and as you can imagine, it's going to be giving us a point and the slope of the line. So a point on the line and the slope of the line. So here's our goals for this lesson. I know what point-slope form looks like. I can find the slope when given an equation in point-slope form. And I can find a coordinate when given an equation in point-slope form. So let's go ahead and take a look at our notes for today. All right, so a linear equation that looks like the following. So we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. Once again, the m will represent the slope of the linear equation. Okay, your m is the slope. Okay, and then to find the point or the coordinate, whatever they give you in this position right here, and this one right here, will give you the coordinate that is on your graph. So x1, y1 represents a coordinate, or point if you want to say point. So it's coordinate of the linear equation, or a point on the linear equation. Now you're going to notice that in the formula, or in the form, notice there's always a subtraction sign right here. Okay, so basically what that means, when we find our coordinate, we're always going to be writing down the opposite symbol because of the subtraction sign. So we're subtracting something. So you're going to look at this whole part of it, and you're going to write down the opposite of whatever that is to find your coordinate. Let me show you what I mean. Well, first let's take a look at the slope. Let's move this out of the way. How to identify the slope in slope point form? The slope is fairly simple to find. The slope is in the m position, which is located outside of the parentheses. So here is always going to be your slope. So looking at this first example, we got y minus 5 equals 3 times x minus 2. What would be the slope? It would be the 3, because that's right here in the m position, just outside the parentheses. So I would say m equals 3. So rise of 3, run of 1. Okay, over here. This is in the slope position. And so our slope, m, would be negative 1/2, which means down 1, right 2. So that would be the slope of our line. Now let's take a look at what the points would be of these lines. Okay, remember the point is going to be whatever your y1 is and your x1 is. So in this first case, notice we have a y minus 5 and an x minus 2. So this number right here, this is in the x1 position. And since it's a subtraction 2, it's really just this number right here. So the coordinate is going to be at 2. And see, we have a minus 5 here. The opposite is an actual 5, because this number right there is the actual number. Okay, so our coordinate here would be 2, 5. Now, if we look up here, we got y plus 4 equals negative 1/2 x minus 7. That means my x coordinate is going to come from here. So we got a 7. My y coordinate is going to come from right here. It's the opposite. And it's a negative 4. So this graph would be going through the coordinate, or the point, 7, negative 4. Okay, so it's just whatever the opposite is of this. If it was a plus, like here we had a plus 4, that's why it was a negative 4. Here we had a negative 7, the opposite is a positive 7. Okay, so that's how we can find the point and the slope in point-slope form. So let's do a few more examples. Okay, so let's go through the whole thing. So let's find our slope, and let's find our coordinate. So first off, the slope. What number is sitting in front of my parentheses? Right here at -2. So my slope is -2, which means down 2, right 1. Okay, next, let's look for my x-coordinate. You're going to find the x-coordinate from this right here. The opposite of -4 is 4. Okay, what about my y-coordinate? My y-coordinate is going to come from the opposite of this right here. So it would be 10. So I have a graph with a slope of -2, and it's going through the coordinate 4, 10. Let's do the same thing over here. Okay, slope. Looks like my slope is 5, so m equals 5, which means a rise of 5 and a run of 1. Okay, the x-coordinate is going to be the opposite of this right here. So for my coordinate x1, y1, the x is going to be a +1. And the y is going to come from right here. What's the opposite of +7? That would be -7. So this line, this linear equation, this line would have a slope of 5, and it's going to run through the point 1, -7. Pretty straightforward. Hopefully, there's not a lot of confusion with that. Whatever your m is will always be in front of the parentheses, and then you can do the opposites to find the coordinates. Let's do 2 more real quick. So here is my slope. So m equals 3/4, rise of 3, run of 4. And then for my coordinate, we're going to get the x from here, so -9. We're going to get the y from here. The opposite of that is 6. So we have a line that goes through the point -9, 6, and has a slope of 3/4. And then this last example over here, notice there's just a negative sign in front. So what number would actually be there? It's actually going to be -1. Okay, and what if there was no negative sign there and there was just nothing in front of the parentheses? Well, that means there's a slope of 1, because technically there's still a number 1 there. Okay, and for our coordinate, the opposite of 3 is -3. The opposite of 1 is -1. So we have a line that goes through the coordinate -3, -1 with a slope of -1. Okay. Oh, special cases. All right, let's take a look at these. Okay. First off, let's start with our slope. Slope is 1/2. Okay, where does my x coordinate come from? Right here. So it's going to be a 4. All right, what about the y coordinate? If you look over at the y, what's happening right here? Is there anything being added or subtracted to the y? There's not. So that means there is a 0 in that position. Because we could write y plus 0, but there's really no point to writing that. So all that means is that my y coordinate is 0. Okay? And then over here on the right, this is what I was just talking about on our previous page. Notice there's no number right there. That means the slope is 1, because technically there is a 1. We just don't have to write it, because 1 times anything is just whatever it's multiplying by. And then the coordinate, opposite of 4 is -4. Opposite of -2 is 2. So this would be a line that runs through the coordinate -4, 2, and has a slope of 1, which is rise 1. Run would be 1. All right, so let's take a look at our goals again. I know what point slope form looks like. I can find the slope when given an equation in point slope form, and I can find a coordinate when given an equation in point slope form. Once again, reach out if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to help.